This over a little bit. There we go. How you doing, doctor?
Hi, Bill. How are you?
I'm doing great. Always good to chat with you, man.
The weather cleared up a little bit, or just power came back?
It was. I mean, I couldn't believe it must be some spring storms or something. I live in the Pacific Northwest. I mean, it's warm, but it was really coming down, man. We had it probably rained a couple inches, some hail, and then we lost power. And
Uh-huh.
so, but luckily it came back on us while we're running a little bit behind, and we'll wait for some people to trickle in.
Okay.
Um, and I'm going to share this on my page, and I can't remember last time we spoke. It's been a while.
It's
What
been
if
about
what?
year and a half, maybe.
Yeah, a year and a half, and but we talk privately quite a bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what have you been up to? You've been so first off, you've been kind of getting out of the working dog world, right?
Yeah. I mean, I spent about 20 years doing it. Trained three dogs to, um, IGP3, and then two of them to FHS. Um, I, I'm a reasonably good trainer. I could not really do very well at the higher levels because I can't. My life is such that I don't have the time to commit to that kind of high intensity training. And to really train at the high level, you need to be able to go out and meet with elite trainers and elite helpers. It's not easy to do that. If you look at all the people who in the dog world, there are only two other physician scientist kind of persons who are in training at a higher level. One is Gary McGilvery, and the other is Erin O'Shea, and both of them lead lives like mine, but they are blessed in having the ability to drive on a moment's notice. For example, they'll drive. Erin will drive over to Mike Deal and refine some training like that. So that allows the ability to train dogs to the highest possible levels.
Yes.
Um, and when you also Erin takes time to purchase dogs of a higher caliber also. So all of that put together makes her very competitive at the highest level.
Well, and the upkeep, I know. I mean, some of my friends they do
Yeah.
tracking 4 days a week, right?
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, I had the ability and the resources to do that at my local place. I could go 4 days a week and train, but my local place has a peculiar uh, deficiency in high level trainers.
yes.
Um, and now that I'm not actively competing, I can safely say that there is a deficiency because before when I was actively training, I would be triggering off a lot of egos by saying that. But the fact is, really top level trainers are not available locally. There are a few who claim to be top level, but if you actually work with them, they are not in the same category as the trainers who train with Wallace Payne at his club or with Mike Deal at his club. If you go to those places, you will see that the level of training is a completely different game.
Yep, and it is a commitment, and you've chosen to pivot and put more time into the business of active power. That's your other
Yeah.
business. What is active power, and you want to explain to us what that's all about?
So active power started when I was actively. competing and training dogs. Um, and it actually started with my mom, actually, in 2007. Um, so before I go into that, I have a background in chemistry. My doctoral degree is in peptide and protein chemistry and biochemistry, uh, and molecular biology. So I spent a good 10 years of my life doing the doctoral work, and then two postdoctoral fellowships at Harvard, where I basically refined a lot of the work and the knowledge needed to become really good at it.
Hmm.
And one of the things I did was the one of the things I did during that period was to really learn how to purify molecules to a high levels. So uh, one of the so that is one part. The other thing is, when I grew up in India, I grew up in a culture where herbalism is everyday work.
Hmm.
I mean, just growing up in India, you learn. I remember my father used to take me to shopping at the Sunday farmers market. So in India, the Sunday farmers market is a 10-acre field, and the field will be bisected. So there is the south side of the field was a wet market,
Hmm.
uh, where they would be selling fish, live poultry, wild birds, and so on and so forth. The north side of the field would be an agricultural market where they are selling vegetables and plant, various uh, fruits and vegetables. So my dad would take me past each stall, and he would tell me, okay, this thing is good for stomach. It is good for digestion, and this thing is good for flatulence, and this good thing is good for in the summer months when you get heat boils. This is really good if you make a drink out of this. He would just literally drop these knowledge bombs, and I would just assimilate all these things by just passively walking with him as he was shopping for the house.
Hmm.
And so when my in 2007 my mom came to visit me, and she has bad arthritis in her knees, and she had not had a knee replacement at that time. She subsequently got it. So the arthritis pain was keeping her up at night. And my mom is very sensitive to ibuprofen. It tears her stomach up.
Yes,
So I
a lot
could
of
not
people are.
give her any relief. And she was not able to sleep at night, and she was miserable. So what I did was I went into the kitchen pantry and pulled out a bunch of herbs, and I took a mason jar and filled it with some olive oil, and I crushed all these herbs and some chili pepper and everything, and put it all into the olive oil and closed it up and shook it up and left it at the kitchen counter. So for the next 2 weeks, every time I would pass the kitchen counter, I would pick up the mason jar, shake it up,
Huh.
shake it up, and then keep it. And I would just keep on doing that. No further refinement. I would just let the oil soak it up. And at the end of 2 or 3 weeks, I took the top of everything had settled to the bottom. So took the oil from the top and rubbed it onto my mom's knee, and she had relief. And Ayurab and Actorab was born that way.
Okay.
So so then when it got relief, I said, oh well, it looks like I got something here. So I started purifying it, refining the methodology, extract it, instead of this crude form of passive extraction, set up a Breaking Bad type of basement. Yes, I did. Good evening, Kim. So, put up a Breaking Bad type of chemistry lab in my basement and extracted it out of it. And then refined it and made a liniment called Dr. Iyer's Mayura.
Okay.
Dr. Iyer's Balm, it was called, I think. It was a big hit in the clinic. Everyone started doing it. People started buying it and shipping it to their grandparents in Canada. I have a large Indian population, and all the Punjabi people had relatives in Canada, so they would ship it to Canada. From here, they'd buy it and ship it. So it was a tiny little side income to the clinic, and it was became very popular. And my staff were busy selling it to the patients. And then one of my patients got it, and he said, "Doc, you really need to patent this and file for an FDA OTC clearance."
Hmm.
So, um, so that started it, and I started making it, and I started a company with along with my accountant and one other person, and we we filed for an FDA registration, and yeah, we got it in 9 months. We just got it, and so we got all excited about it. And so, that's how Active Power was born. It was born out of this liniment that I made for my mom. So we called it Active Power, and we put it out. But
Well,
then one thing led to another. So at around the same time, I developed a weighted cuff that I could put on my dog to build muscle, and
okay.
I call that Actobands because I had Active Power, so I called that Actobands. I filed another patent for that, and that also got passed. And the principle is we leveraged some research that was done in Sweden, and they showed that if you if you wrap these bands around the cuffs. Oh yeah, those are it. That's
Yep.
it.
Here we go.
Yeah,
So these.
these are basically pouches that you can wrap, and in the pouches you can put small coins that are weights. And a lot of people don't understand this. They think that they have to put heavy weights on the back of the dog, but the dog is actually a quadruped. It is not a biped. So putting a weight on the dog really does not help. Yeah, that's the way you do it. You can just open it up, and yeah, there, and you can wrap it around your wrist.
Okay.
So you would wrap it around the wrist, just
Here, I'm going to
above
go. We can still hear
pastern,
you. I can still
yeah,
hear you,
just
dog.
above the pastern of the dog.
Okay. And then wraps around. But I'm trying to look at. Oh, so this is a little spot,
Yeah, there's a
and then
little
that's where
spot
you put
inside. Yeah,
the.
yeah,
Cool,
and
man.
you can put up to 8 quarters, or I use half-dollar coins,
No
because a half
kidding.
dollar coin is exactly 5 grams.
And then
And
wrap
the
it around.
formula for this is you put 1 gram of weight in the pouch for every kilogram of weight of the dog. So, most of the Malinois and Shepherds are about 35 to 40 kilograms in weight.
Right.
So you put about 40 grams of coins in each pouch. And the thing is, when the dog is walking, and you don't run the dog with this, you actually just put a leash, clip a leash, and just walk with the dog, and no more than 15 minutes. And when you do that, there is both isometric and isotonic leverage because the weights are at the distal part of the limb here.
Okay.
And when what happens is the leverage is at the shoulder. So when the dog is walking, all the small stabilizing
No, but
muscles are worked. See, everyone is looking at the big muscles, but it is actually the small stabilizing muscles of the joint, of the shoulder, and of the hip that are really important
huh.
for power and for agility, as well as longevity of the dog. And these small stabilizing muscles hardly ever get
Come
worked
here.
out in conventional work. To historically, people used to do a lot of,
So you put it right here,
right above that, above just at the ankle. Yep, there. That's where.
right there. Okay.
Now that we have a small version for that dog. Uh,
Yeah,
you
she
would
just walked in the room, so I said you're volunteering here.
you
So
would put pennies on
so
that
little
dog.
pennies on that. She's like, but that's it. It's just right there at the bottom there, and as I swing, and it's like when we do weighted ankle weights, right?
That's right. And you don't run the dog, you don't jump the dog with it. You just walk it,
Okay.
and no more than 15 minutes. You don't put these weights on and then forget about the dog. Just let them run around by themselves. You don't. That's not what you normally do. I would recommend that you supervise the dog. Some of the dogs may just chew the thing up, so you want to prevent that. Uh, but
Fantastic.
so the principle of what we do at Active Power is, I call it the three R's of power: resistance, recovery, and regenerate. So when you do any kind of resistance training, whether you're using the dog's own body weight and gravity in the form of incline boards or climb platforms or Bosu balls or peanuts, whether you're doing that to build up the stabilizing muscles or you're using active bands, whenever you do that, after you finish the exercise, you come in with the oil that I talk about, the Ayurab and the Actorab, and you rub that into the joints, the shoulders. Yep, that's for humans, Ayurab.
This one's
And
for humans, but you can put it on the dogs too.
well, I developed it at the same time. I mean, it's the same product. It's this one is engineered to with a little nozzle so you can get to below the fur,
Oh,
and
okay.
that one has a roller ball that you can use on your shoulder. If you open it, it has a roller ball. Yep. So
Yep.
it's like a built-in massager. Now for the dogs, I have a handheld massager. Some of my patients use the handheld massager too.
This one
Uh,
right here.
yep, that's what I do. You just slap it on your hand, and then you can rub it on your thigh, on your back. And I have patients who use it, and so do handlers. But the key is whenever you do any form of exercise, whether it is a training routine that you do or you do a resistance training like this, at the end of the exercise, you can come in and do the rub with the oil. What that happens is it increases blood flow to these muscles that have been worked, and it causes the muscle to not only enhance in strength, it causes the muscle to recover much faster.
Right. So what when we build muscle, we're actually tearing it. Is that right, doctor?
That's
Or
right.
tearing,
That's right. Whenever you work a muscle, you are producing microscopic injury to the muscle,
which is good. Which is we
which is
want
good.
that.
That is
Yeah.
how you actually, that is how muscle is made. The muscle, the old muscle, the weaker muscle is broken down, and there's a stimulus. There's a lot of chemicals released in that muscle that stimulate new growth, new blood flow, entry of new blood vessels to boost the muscle growth. So that is the reason why you feel sore after a strong workout. And because you've literally torn your muscle down. You're tearing your house down to rebuild it, and that's exactly what you do when you build muscle. But
Regenerate. That's the R in the active power,
yeah,
right?
so regenerate is what we do after the recovery massage. You come in and you feed it nutrients that will accelerate the delivery of critical elements and reduce inflammation at the same time. So this is essentially the principle of health. See, the supplement that I made, Atlas. So you have Actobanks, which is resistance training for dogs, Actorub, which is the rub that you do for enhancing blood flow and muscle development. But you can't just expect muscle to develop if you don't give it critical nutrients that are far more rich than the conventional superfoods that you get, the sport foods that you get. That is not enough, because what we did in Atlas was we combined 16 ingredients. And some of these ingredients in that are substrates. They are molecules that are used for building bone, joints, and muscle. Others are molecules that enhance gut delivery and absorption.
Hmm.
And the third group are molecules that actually reduce inflammation systemically. So the story of the development of Atlas, thank you, Brad.
Thank you, Brian.
Story of Atlas is, there was a friend of mine. Actually, I met him only once or twice in a dog competition. His name is Armando Armandares, Victor Armandares, and he's in California. Now he had a dog called Gonzo, and Gonzo injured its hind leg somehow in training. So he used the Actorub, and Gonzo got better, but he had to bench Gonzo for the better part of a year from competition. So at the end of when Gonzo got better, he wanted to get back, but Gonzo had lost muscle. So he asked me if I could develop something for him to help Gonzo build muscle back. So I made him a kilogram of Atlas powder, and I shipped the kilogram just to try it out. I said, "Here, take it and try it." And it worked. And he was all excited. He said, "Man, this really works. Send me more." So I started making. Initially, I was making it just for Victor.
Oh
And
wow.
Atlas, I made the first batch of Atlas in September of 2017. So, but Victor started handing some of the Atlas out to other people in his club. And they all started asking me. So soon I had a small group of people in California asking for regular supply of Atlas. And I realized that I had better commercialize this, because I really could not just keep making the batches that they were asking.
Yeah.
So I asked them, "Hey, will if I package it and give it to you, would you be able to buy it?" "Yeah, yeah, we'll buy it." So in 2018 March, we brought out Atlas, and when we brought out Atlas, we went to the FDA and filed for an OTC classification on the veterinary section of FDA, and FDA gave it to us. So Atlas in 2018 and 2019 got OTC recommendation from registration with the FDA, and it really took off. And a lot of people started using it. In 2020, because some of my handlers who were using Atlas in 2019 started taking some of the Atlas powder, mixing it with honey and other protein shakes into their daily drink themselves, because all the ingredients on Atlas are food grade, are human food grade. So it's not like it's some crap that I'm feeding the dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So they asked me, say, "Is it safe for us?" I said, "Yeah, it's safe. You can use it." So they put a spoon of it in their drink, and they noticed that their joints did not hurt that much.
Huh.
So they asked me if I mean, they said it tastes bad, but I take it. But can you put it into a capsule? So in 2020, late 2019, I started making capsules, and that's how Zeus was born.
Okay.
And these patients were taking it every day. And then I started getting reports. I started getting people who are having arthritis saying, "Hey, I'm taking Zeus, my arthritis is better." Another patient was starting to use Zeus. They had psoriasis, psoriatic arthritis, and they felt better. Then there was another patient who had skin lesions of psoriasis, and he was taking an injection by the name of Dupixent. Now,
Hmm.
Dupixent is an injectable. Yeah, that's it.
That's pretty
It
cool.
is an injectable which you take 2 shots a month, one every 2 weeks.
Wow.
2 shots of Dupixent cost $4,950 if you didn't have
And
if you
it's a
don't.
shot too, man. I hate shots. That's one of
So
the.
this guy was actually using Dupixent, and he wasn't getting much relief with the psoriasis. He started using Zeus, and his psoriasis improved.
I just smelt it. It smells good. We have a question. Kim wants to know, and I want to get back to because this makes sense to me, Doc. Because we were a peptide and protein specialist, and when you know peptides, those are basically. We'll get back to that. Like I want to ask what peptides are, and it might help us understand why you're so good at making these products and why it might be a little bit different than what we see other people's make because of the specialty of your knowledge base with that arm of that chemistry background with the peptides and the protein. But Kim, have you ever, or she wants to know, do you think that this would help
Yes,
with
it
some of
will.
her?
It
Okay.
will. I have data on that. It will. So there is now. So essentially, Zeus and Atlas work the way they work because they are powerful anti-inflammatory compounds, and they are all natural. They are not synthetic in that sense. The anti-inflammatory effects of Zeus and Atlas are coming from a few ingredients. They are coming from an African plant, the root of an African plant called devil's claw root.
Okay.
It's called devil's claw because its seed has a wicked looking hook, and it grabs onto the hide of passing rhinos and elephants and gets disseminated that way. Now, this plant has a compound called herpagoside, which is a glycoside, and this glycoside is a very powerful inhibitor of a cytokine in your body called TNF alpha, which mediates the pain and inflammation of arthritis, psoriasis, and so on and so forth. So all the drugs that are out there on the market for arthritis, they are all TNF alpha blockers, except that you can get that TNF alpha blockade for most moderate level. Now, if you have really bad, severe autoimmune arthritis, this Zeus will not work. It cannot work at that intensity, but it will reduce your reliance on prescription medication.
Well, and I know, we'll talk about what is inflammation. It's a defense mechanism that your body does,
Yes.
but what
So
causes it? And I know that a lot of people are dealing with chronic inflammation, and some people might not even know that they are dealing with chronic inflammation. It might show up as a different
I,
subset of issues.
I'll I'll get into this. There's a very interesting story that developed in 2020. In 2020, COVID hit, and my we were seeing 50 to 75 patients per day. Now, and my own patients who were taking Zeus for their arthritis. So what would happen is all the patients would get sick with the virus,
Okay.
and 2 weeks later they would get recover. They would get rid of the virus, and they'll get they'll get okay. But they would still drag along for 6, 8, 12, 16 weeks of, oh, I don't have any energy, I don't have any strength, so on and so forth. And this was uniform, or whether you know, whether you had arthritis or not, or whether you were normal, if you got COVID and you were fortunate enough to not die of it, but you recovered, you'll recover in 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, you are dragging your body around like a zombie for
Yeah,
16 weeks.
I did that
Some
myself.
of them, and that is the long COVID. That is the thing. And some of them went longer, in more than 16 weeks, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, like that.
I still don't
Now,
smell normally. I still don't after 3 no 2 2 years. I It's not the same.
yes. So what we noticed was, among these patients who got COVID were a few people who were actually taking Zeus for their arthritis. And all of them got COVID, just like everybody else. All of them recovered like everybody else. They recovered, did not take any shorter time. They took the same 2 weeks like everybody else. So Zeus was not helping them get better quick. But once they cleared the virus, they bounced back to what the level they were before they got infected
Hmm.
much faster. It, on average, 2 to 3 weeks after clearing the virus, they were back to normal. Now that made a huge difference because they could go back to work.
Yes.
They could be productive. They could generate income. Whereas the other patients who were just relying on conventional methodologies, they were dragging their asses around for quite a bit of time. So I started putting everyone on Zeus. So I would just give them a free sample. I would give them a bottle and I would say, hey, take this for 30 days. And every one of them got better within those 30 days. And then they don't know it. It's not that you have to take it for life. You just have to take it to tide you over that recovery phase. Now, as we went further into the pandemic, we soon got data that the real mischief, the real damage that the COVID virus does is it triggers the body into a whole body inflammation. It just dysregulates your inflammatory cascade. And that was the reason why we, in March, April, and May, we were seeing a lot of patients dying because we didn't know how to treat them.
Mm.
By May, we figured out, hey, all these patients in the hospital who are getting sick enough to get admitted, if we start them on prednisone, on steroids, they will recover fast. And what is steroids? It blocks inflammation.
Right.
So so now it became standard practice in June and July of 2020 to put every hospitalized patient on steroids, and sure enough, they all did not deteriorate as long as they were underlyingly, they didn't have other serious illnesses. If you're already really sick with cancer or heart failure or bad COPD, then your goose was cooked. There's no way that you are going to recover from COVID because COVID became the straw that breaks the camel's back. So, but if you didn't, and you were just having a viral pneumonia, then you did not deteriorate further into lung damage that landed you in the ICU and on a ventilator, and then you had to, it went downhill.
Yeah.
So they would put you on steroids. They would give you a monoclonal antibody to mop up the virus, and you would be back home. So I I looked at that data that was coming out of the hospital and said, hey, that explains why Zeus is working. Zeus is also an anti-inflammatory, just like that, like steroids, except it is not a steroid. It works like steroids, and it works. And there's another ingredient in Zeus called green lip muscle. Now, green lip muscle in Atlas and Zeus, green lip muscle has powerful. It's a complex mixture of multiple glycosides and peptides, all suppressing interleukin 2, interleukin 6, TNF alpha, and COX 2 cyclooxygenase. These are all leukotrienes. These are all mediators of inflammation. So, what is inflammation? Inflammation is the body's methodology, that is the body's system to protect from injury. Whenever some foreign agent comes, whether it's a toxin or it is a mechanical injuries, there is the human being falls down and injures themselves, or it is a chemical injury, or it is a bacterial injury, they get infected. Regardless, whenever there's injury, the body releases these mediators, TNF alpha, cytokines, interleukin 6, cyclooxygenase activates that, leukotrienes. And these agents, they trigger increase blood flow, they increase the body temperature, you have fever, you have flushing of the body, you have a huge output of the cells from the bone marrow that go out and fight. So all of this is triggered, and this causes the damaging agent to be neutralized and removed. Now that's
So,
a good.
yes.
These mediators of inflammation are also, they activate the clotting system, because whenever there's injury, usually one part of injury is a person who falls and cuts themselves. That's also an injury. So that creates inflammation, and part of the inflammation is the mediators of the clotting pathway that blocks blood clots, blood from bleeding you out. It allows you to clot the wound up and stop bleeding. So these two factors, the coagulation pathway and the inflammatory cascade, get dramatically activated in certain diseases. So certain cancers do that. All
And
your autoimmune diseases, your rheumatoid arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, are all dysregulated inflammation. Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis is inflammation again, dysregulated inflammation. The COVID, post-COVID recovery, it's all dysregulated inflammation.
what causes this to be dysregulated? Is that a genetic marker, or is that something else going
There
on
is
in the body?
definitely a genetic component. There are
Okay.
some people who are prone to developing it, who are just like you have dogs that are a little bit more reactive to their environment.
Yes.
Like that, there are some people who are genetically more reactive, and they don't stop being reactive after the danger goes away. You know, and
Yep.
that's the problem. You can't, so you have to deal with that. You have to somehow protect them from their hyper reactivity.
Yeah, a lot of times it's an unconscious or subconscious mechanism that is just like with the
That is
inflammation.
at the behavioral level in a dog, yes. But
Yes.
at a molecular level in the immune system, hyperreactivity is genetically an enhanced response to a normal level of stimulation.
Okay. It's molecular, and not only that, but it's a it's a mechanism that's meant to keep you safe, but it's kind of
Yes.
gone awry, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of gone awry, and now it's not keeping you safe. It's actually detrimenting your health by being
Yeah.
dysregulated.
And that is exactly what happens in the cytokine storm of explosive COVID, viral pneumonia. Those patients, those 3% of patients who actually got sick enough to die, you know. So
Yeah.
if there are 100 people who get COVID, about 85 will never get sick enough to go to the hospital. 15 will get sick enough to get into the hospital. And out of the 15, 5 of them will end up in the ICU and 3 will die. So that's your 3%, 2 or 3% mortality. But The 85 who never got sick, they're not well. They just didn't get sick enough to go to the hospital. They are still dragging around, really. And among that 85, yeah, maybe about 25 just brush it off and say, no problem, you
Yeah,
know.
I'm one of those 85. I remember
Um,
saying
but
things like, "I'm not 100% yet. I'm not 100% yet." Right, as far as my feeling, and so I know exactly what you're talking about, Doc.
yeah, so what we found was if you could get this inflammation under control, the body would recover. You're not shutting down inflammation, so you're not depriving the person of a beneficial system. It's not like they suddenly you take this, like for example, if you take steroids, you can shut the inflammation down to the level where they are actually make them susceptible to infections.
Yes, yes, I know
That
that.
doesn't happen with zoos.
Okay.
So it just tamps it down to a safe level, but you don't lose the benefit of inflammation. You can still mount an inflammatory response, but it is
Do
at an ideal level.
Can people with shellfish allergies take this?
No.
Okay, because of the green lip mussel,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean, obvious. I can't. I can't solve every problem, but we try to do our best.
You got some lactobacillus in here
Yeah.
species. Yep,
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
help with the probiotics. What so we know about the Ryan's horn and or the devil's claw, excuse me. Let me show you guys what the devil's claw looks like. That's what you were just mentioning earlier,
Yeah.
and you guys got to see this because it's pretty intimidating little plant, but it's also here. Let me see if this one's the one. Yep, here it is. Share this
It's
one.
a wicked looking hook there.
Yep, here it is right here. Devil's Devil's claw, right? That's a big one. Yeah,
Yeah.
look at that thing. Southern Africa, right?
Yeah.
Centuries. People have
Kalahari
been
does it. Kalahari does it.
botanical herbal products containing devil's claw, muscle pain, and arthritis. What's iridoid? And
Iridoid glycosides. It's a
okay,
yeah. It's a iridoid is the class of chemical compounds it has.
yep. And this is Ayurvedic, right? That's a what does Ayurvedic mean, Doc?
Well, no, I mean everyone calls anything botanical or Ayurvedic. Ayurveda is an Indian system of health,
Okay.
which it comes out of a Sanskrit word. Veda means knowledge.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Ayur means life. So it's
Life knowledge.
basically the knowledge of life,
I like
and
that.
it is a health. It is a compendium. Africa is emphasis. It's a compendium of knowledge that is used to promote healthy living. That's all, and it uses a wide variety of natural compounds to promote health and wellness. Not all of them are botanical. Some of the agents in Ayurvedic are fungal. Some of them they will also use animal products
Well,
like
green
butter.
lip mussels too, right? Those
No,
are
they'll use butter, animal product like butter. They'll use milk. They'll use animal products like goat milk and
love it.
exotic milks. They'll use b- bees. They will use wax made by bees. They will so not everything is. They will use some of the secretions of certain kinds of insects. There's a shellac that is made by insects that are used. So not everything is just plant based, but it is everything is things that are extracted out of the wildlife or out of nature. So everything is natural in that sense, and minimally processed. So So the difference, and it's actually a good point for me to talk about the why Western medicine is different
Yes.
than Eastern medicine. In China and India, fundamentally, medicine is the use of chemical compounds for the benefit of life. That's all. In my opinion, anything you do to live better is medicine. In the way I look at it, the proper attitude is good medicine. A lifestyle of proper sleep and proper diet is all medicine. It's all medicine.
Mm.
You know, a kind of thought process that promotes a positive attitude in life is medicine.
Mm.
So I don't restrict medicine to what I can prescribe in a pill. I use anything that I can bring. I use Malcolm X's phrase, by any means necessary. I will provide health by any means necessary. I'll take anything that I can use to provide health, I'll use it. So
Yes.
now, if you look at medicine, the way people understand medicine, not the way I describe it, medicine is always a chemical compound used for the benefit of health. Now, in nature, chemical compounds are not present as single molecule entities. They are present as complex mixtures of groups of molecules. So in a leaf, you will have more than one compound in a leaf. In a plant stem, you'll have more than one compound. In a root or in a fruit, you'll have more than one compound. All of those compounds collectively are used for the benefit, and they are a collective medicinal value. Now, Western medicine is part of not just folk medicine, it is actually an enterprise. Western medicine is a business entity, and you cannot make a profit out of a complex variable mixture for several reasons. One, Western science, which is the foundation of Western medicine, wants to understand each entity from a Newtonian principle. It's reductionist. They take a complex system and they break it down into its component parts and try to see, okay, if I destroy this part, what happens to the organism? So they try to do that. And to some extent, you can understand how the parts work. But in complex systems, sometimes it is not just the part, but it is the relative position of the part relative to the others that causes the whole to work like that. So it is complex systems cannot be completely understood by a reductionist approach where you break things down to their component elements. Often the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yes.
But Western medicine doesn't like to go into that because there is no money there.
Yes.
So what they do is you cannot patent a natural compound. And therefore, if you cannot patent it, you cannot control its manufacture, sale, and distribution. Of what use is it if anybody can just wander into their backyard and pick up a mushroom and treat your depression with it? All right. So what's the first step? You got to say, that mushroom, we're going to make it illegal. Then the next step is you're going to extract what is there in the mushroom and call it psilocybin. And you're going to now say, okay, we're going to do a bunch of research and find that, psilocybin causes dramatic resolution of PTSD and depression.
Anxiety and fear of death and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah, all of that. So now you have a business model for treating.
Yes.
So So this is the basis why Western medicine insists on purifying things, and they have a rationale for it. The rationale they use is the truth that in nature, the harvest, when you harvest a leaf in summer, it does not produce the same complex mixture that that leaf would have in it in winter.
Yes.
So this seasonal variation, this regional variation, all this is used by Western medicine to downgrade herbalism to witchcraft. It
It's
is
too
not
bad.
it is not witchcraft.
No, I
I
know it isn't.
am I am I am I am a Western trained doctor who has gone deep into Western science and research and also gone this way. And I use both because of my by any means necessary philosophy. I'll use both. I don't use both every time. Sometimes I'll say, no, you need a prescription. You need this. Sometimes I'll say, but I have the knowledge base to be able to do that, and I can pick and choose which will work for whom.
Or you can integrate both of them together
Yes.
as well.
So when I developed this, I developed all this, and these medications are all being used. These supplements are being used by my parents. My father is 96 years old.
Hmm.
My mom is 92. My father still walks 500 yards every day. He
Fantastic.
still is able to dress himself, able to go to the bathroom, lower himself onto the toilet, get up by himself, take a shower. My mom is able to take care of their personal hygiene by themselves. She needs a little bit of assistance in dressing, but she still does it. So so what I'm saying is I don't give anything out to anybody that I don't use on my own parents,
Yes.
that I don't use in my own house. So these work, and they work because they have anti-inflammatory properties and they are packaged. Now, so the question then becomes, can I go to Amazon and order green lip mussel and devil's claw root powder? You can get them as capsules individually. All the 16 ingredients in Zeus and in Atlas, you can buy them individually on Amazon. That's no, I never hide that. But the uniqueness of this is that they are combined in a particular ratio with each other that maximizes their collective benefit and totally minimizes their adverse reactions. Because you cannot combine 16 ingredients just willy nilly and not have an adverse reaction if you don't know how to combine the ratios.
Well, and I saw this picture too that I wanted to share of you, Doc, with you on. I believe it's this one here. Nope, this one here. And not only that, but not only are you combining them, but look at the care and the safety that goes into the consideration of producing this the Zeus here, right? And that's Zeus
Yeah,
that you're holding right
that's
there.
Zeus capsules. That's a girl who was interning with us at that time, and she was really excited to be part of the capsule making thing.
But all the
Um,
work is done for you. You can know that these things are beneficial, but it's also like how much you don't know the recipe, and that's where you've done your hard work, and now you have the outcome of the testimonials of the people that have actually taken this through the years, and
yeah.
we have people
So
listening
for
from.
me, the real excitement is when somebody calls me and says, you know, this thing allowed me to do this, or this thing gave my dog 3 more years of life. That to me is extremely, extremely gratifying. Because if you think about it, you know, the yes, these products are not. inexpensive. They're not exorbitant, but they are extremely valuable in the power of their results. I had, and because of that, I I go through my life uh, really happy that I was blessed to find a way to bring this out. This is really good. I mean, I enjoy my life. This I kind of this is fun for me.
Well, and I know, well, and we were going to have Larry on, but he's at the Grand Ole Opry. But I wanted to show you this stuff too, because this is, so we have, all these different testimonials, but we also have a lot of stuff that you can do your own research, and these are all on Facebook, I believe. Actually, they're posted by you, where you go in and kind of look through, and this one's only for animals, right? But then we
Yeah.
have the ones that do your research, and that's the beautiful thing about this is that you're an open book, and you're doing
So
this because you see that it works.
the main anti-arthritic, anti-inflammatory compounds in Atlas are frankincense, um, green lip mussel, devil's claw root, hyaluronic acid, uh, which is a white, very fine powder. And we use high molecular weight hyaluronic acid, which is extremely is far more expensive. Most people will say, "Yeah, we have hyaluronic acid," but if you look at it, it's low molecular weight, which doesn't produce a benefit. The high molecular weight is expensive to get. Um, the the other ingredients in it are calcium, and in calcium I use limestone. I don't use regular calcium. Then the reason for that is so the product we use is called dolomite, which is crushed limestone, and crushed limestone has trace elements.
Really?
It has other trace elements in addition to calcium. So I like to use that. Um, I use diatomaceous earth, which rather than silica, which is diatomaceous earth is a form of silica, but it is actually the deposits of the marine diatoms, which are marine plankton. And their cell walls are made of silica, and when they die, they form a sediment on the ocean floor, and that's harvested. So food grade diatomaceous earth is what we use. There is industrial grade diatomaceous earth, which is used for as an abrasive for making sandpaper.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
here you go. So this is your dog cannot tell he hurts. Be his
yeah.
best friend, right? They're so stoic. And it a lot of times too, when a dog does start to limp, it is because it's gotten to a point of inflammation
Yep,
where it's actually detrimental to them. And so dogs, I think they're stoic, doctor, because dogs don't like weakness. They snuff out weakness. They're a predator.
correct.
And so they want to,
They hide it.
they hide it because it makes it makes them so they live longer and they're not open for attack. People, we're people, and so we're nurturers by nature. So when we see somebody injured or hurt, we want to care
Yep,
for them, right?
that's
But we have to remember that we're working with a predator, and this is the same thing I got right here. And that predator mind is a lot different than us. And even as the dogs get older, I've been called many times as a dog trainer to houses where all of a sudden the older dog just starts getting attacked randomly.
Yep,
And I have to explain to them, look, this is weakness. This dog has now become kind of a pariah in the pack. They look at him as a weakness, as a weak link, and they're trying to snuff it out. They're trying to eliminate that.
yep,
And so we have to be truthful about why dogs show so much strength. It's admirable, but there's also a reason behind that. And we can't fool ourselves, right? We have to look at them for what they are, and that's the predator. Um, and doctor, real quick, I want to say Thank you for what you did for J Jack, man.
Oh,
Thank you, man. That was really good of you. For people that don't know, and I don't know anybody that doesn't, but J Jack was involved in a motor vehicle accident
yeah.
and was in the hospital for quite a while.
I sent
And
him some Zeus. I hope he used it. I think he's a tough guy. He pushed
toughest.
himself through the rehab like anything, and he came
Yeah,
out so fast. That's really
he's a
impressive.
he's the toughest guy I know, man. But he's also one of the best people that I know. And when I saw that you did that for him, it really warmed my heart. So thank you. And I know that he has a hard time accepting help. And so I just want you to know that I admire you for that. And I remember Larry um, making a comment to you, thanking you for that as well. And I'm going to
Yeah.
talk to Larry. We'll have a different time that I'll chat with Larry because he has so many people that he's recommended, especially
Oh
the
yeah.
Atlas, right?
Yeah. Larry loves the product. He uses it every day on his dog, and he has told so many people. See, that's something which really gratifies me because so far I have never, people buy, they pay money for endorsements and stuff. I never did that. Um, and not that I'm averse to rewarding anybody. I wanted my product to speak for itself and people to actually speak out of their experience.
Hmm.
And I'm really thrilled that so many people actually came out and said, you know what, this thing works beyond imagination. I want to give it to my friend. I want to give it to my relative. I want to give it to my wife or my mom. And that, I want to give it to my dog. So that to me is, I cannot tell you the kind of emotion I feel when I hear that kind of story. It affirms the reason why I feel glad I was born. I really feel glad I'm alive.
Well, it's truly what you're here for. And I have some active bands here, a picture of this as well, so we can show people. There's these active bands. We were talking
That
about this.
dog is actually, that dog is a dog of a guy by the name, I think Trace Sims, or girl by the name of Trace Sims. And that dog was actually recovering from a tumor, I think.
Wow. And I
Yeah.
got a couple more here for you. Then we have
Uh,
the
this
band.
is this is Steve O. Henderson's dog. Um,
And you can, and this takes some time, you guys. You're going to be with your dog and let them experience it. And just like, I just had a dog lose a nail, right? And put on a booty. So he wasn't getting that that exposed nail bed infected.
I
And you
have
just
some
have,
videos of how I put them on, and I um, this is I'm forgetting. This is a gentleman in California.
okay.
His Yeah,
But that on the back legs, we're putting them right above that elbow there, or right above that
the
little
hawk.
hock.
It's
Yeah.
called the hawk. Yeah,
And then
and
right up
here
there.
above the pasterns. Yeah,
Yep. And then we're leaving them on not for long, 15 minutes at most, right?
yep.
And
And
then
you
taking,
just walk with them. So I usually just give them on a potty break, just on a
just
long line. I'll just let them
no
go.
kidding.
Yeah.
And the people that weren't here on the, like, you guys watch this again and share this if you guys don't mind. Um, but I'm going to open this up just so people can see. So there's a little pocket here, and then you're going
Yep.
to put little coins in there, and that's going to be like a little ankle weight for that dog.
That's
And then
right.
they walk it around supervised, otherwise they might chew it up and or be just not just move incorrectly, right? And so that's another reason why you might want to put them on a leash. See, this dog here is wearing a leash in case they start to chew or start to run or something that they shouldn't be doing with this on, that we can direct their movement. And then we also have
The
uh,
only caveat, Bill, I do is I tell people to not use the Actobands on dogs that are younger than 20 months.
why is
And
that?
that is because the joints have to fuse.
Right.
They have to be skeletally mature. You cannot use weights on a skeletally immature dog.
That's right. People don't realize, and let me show a picture. of a puppy skeleton here, if I can. Well, they have just models of puppy. I'll do puppy X-ray. That would be a better one because then you can see the how the. Here we go.
Most large breed dogs take about 20 months, sometimes 24 months to become skeletal mature. Usually 20 months is they are all there. The smaller breed dogs a little earlier, but you need to know your breed and you need to make sure that they are skeletally mature before you start doing any form of resistance training.
Yep. Even look at the tail. Like, look at how
Yeah,
spaced out those vertebrae are on that tail there. See right here. That's what you're talking about. See how the space is in between here? That's just cartilage, and in here, right? It's just the bone isn't properly formed there. That's
that's the
looks like
growth plate. You want the growth plates to fuse. Yep,
look at
that's
3 days, 26, 42, 55. So it's still. I mean, that's just a couple months old, right?
yep,
And so and we want them to be rigid. And um, if they're malleable essentially until
yeah,
20 months and before, they're malleable and you can actually shift that growth to something that isn't going to benefit that dog in
that's right.
their gait or other things. It might even hurt them or provide arthritis later on in life based on the incongruent growth that they experience.
There's one other thing that I want to make out that people who are into conformation shows with German Shepherds, when if you are using an adult dog older than 20 months and you use actobands, the dog's gait dramatically improves. They start floating. It's really really impressive. Once you do that. It really improves, and I've seen that again and again. Uh, so there are pluses to very and when you purchase the Actobands, you will get a manual, or you can download the manual even if you don't purchase it. You can go on, you can download the manual from the product page, and you read that manual that tells you exactly a full training program for how to do that for your dog. It's and There's research behind that, and those research articles are available for people. Uh, if you want it, you can download it, or I can email it to you.
And so when you do use the Actoband too, do you do you bring them in and apply this and just have them do a little downstay, and you have to watch them with when you do the muscle, the Acto rub, right? You have to kind of watch that they don't lick that off, or kind of give them
They
some
don't
time
really
to let
lick
the.
that off because they actually enjoy it. They don't lick the actor rub off. I've never seen a dog lick it off. They'll sniff at it and then they won't do anything. Partly because the actor rub has a little bit of
Bitter.
no, it has some capsaicin in it.
Oh, so
So
spicy.
yeah, it's spicy, so they won't lick it.
Okay.
But um, but they won't. They don't. They're not. It's not these. The compounds in Actorab are frankincense, eucalyptus oil, camphor, menthol, capsaicin, turmeric, cinnamon, and black pepper.
And they,
So I
this is
mean,
one
there
of
are
the.
extracts of all of that. So and you the the dog does not lick that, but and they are at ratios which does not produce irritation to the skin. But
Well, and for the older dogs too, man. I have a
yeah,
thing for older dogs, and this is something that if you have older dogs in your life, and they might be a little stiff, that's indication that they might have some inflammation happening that might be turning into some arthritis. And this is one that does the joint health and mobility. And if you do uh, relief from arthritis and hip dysplasia, right? if you guys do use this and you have seen some benefits, please let me or Dr. Ravi know. Maybe take a video of your dog and give us a little testimonial, because I think that this is something that from what I've heard, Doc, this and that's what I was telling you before we went live here, is that people tell me, "Oh, I've heard about it and I want to try it," or they tell me I tried it and I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And so it's something that let us know. Let us know if this is something that you've tried with your dog, and especially if you have the older dogs. Luckily, my dogs aren't up there, but I have these little guys, but I got a couple of them that are, I mean, 7, 8 years old, and I'm definitely going to try it on them, and maybe see if I got some that will fit the active bands here. But and then the Zeus as well, and then you also have some for horses. I see, Doc.
Yeah, I've developed it. It's if you call it Pegasus. I have not tested it enough. I tested it on one horse, and there was some benefit. I
Oh,
have to
it's
figure
coming
out.
soon.
I have to figure out the amount that I have to feed on a daily basis to the horse,
Okay.
and we haven't figured that out yet. So, but that's that's we are right now. There are two products. One is we call Hercules, and the other is Pegasus that I need to develop and build.
And then Hercules, is that going to be the for the horses?
No, that's going to be for dogs too.
Okay. And then this is a human line. Rub.
So one of Hercules is coming out of the fact that during the
Right.
pandemic, a lot you might
Right.
everyone must have noticed that all the dog food companies they developed they had difficulty sourcing their ingredients, and a lot of the dog food companies dramatically raised the prices of of their
It's
ingredients.
crazy.
Crazy.
Crazy. Yeah.
Now, but they did something else also. They also cut the quality of ingredients. So I know this for a fact because my dogs that were not having allergies on because my dogs I feed them Royal Canin. I have fed Royal Canin for 20 years. But beginning 2022, my dog started developing severe allergies. Uh, and I had him on the same Royal Canin kibble, and it stopped only when I switched him to raw. So it was definitely the kibble.
Yeah.
So what I felt was that there is problems in the quality of food that the kibble manufacturers are making across the board. So it may not be bad quality to the level of a recall, but it is still bad quality in the sense that it is even if you're wanting to pay a premium price, you are not getting a healthy product because the ingredients are so expensive and they have to make a profit, and if their source material is gone up in price, there are only two ways that they can make a profit: either they cut the quality and buy a cheaper material, uh, or they skimp the formula in some way. And I think that's what's happening even with Royal Canin. I'm not sure, but I'm worried about that. So I decided that I'll make an additive, something that people can add to their food to compensate for the deterioration in quality. So I have not, it's still a work in process and I have not brought it out yet. But when it comes, it'll come out. It'll be good.
Well, and it's also, I mean, they want to. I remember back the melamine. Do you remember melamine
Yeah.
back in 2007 when they started using this melamine that was, geez, what it do? Can you tell me what melamine is? Is it a protein? Since you're
Yeah, they it was a protein additive, and they tried to use it, and it ended up giving a lot of health problems to dogs,
kidney
and they had
failure,
a
I've had.
recall.
Yeah, there was a lot of dogs that. So why does it cause kidney failure? Is it just something that is
It
that body
it
can
gets
happen?
converted in the
And
body to something else. So that's another reason why I like to use um, human food grade compounds, things that we use to eat ourselves. For example, if I were to go for a protein source, I will go for whey protein. I
Right.
don't I don't like to make a protein substitute like melamine. I would Whey protein is natural. It is a natural protein, and it is the richest protein that you can get. And it is you can get lactose free, so you can get it free of for dogs that are lactose intolerant. You won't get the flatulence and the gut diarrhea and things like that.
Yeah, as I read about the melamine, it's nitrogen based or containing, and
Yeah,
they
the
also
source is
used it for
nitrogen.
like flame retardants and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's just something that I don't think that we should necessarily be eating flame retardants, or it's like we should be eating stuff that our body loves and will readily it has nutrients that are bioavailable, and if we can't, then if we just flush them out with no problems, that we don't have things that are um, that are left behind. We have a comment here from Kim. I recently switched to Inukshuk. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Marie, my
that's good.
25, and my female shepherd skin and hair. And Inukshuk's good stuff. That's the stuff that they would feed for the sledding dogs,
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
huskies.
yeah. Yes, yes.
Well, and just like you said in the Western medicine, doctor, money is a huge factor here, and I know that Origin and Akana just sold to Mars Food Company, and people might not know that,
Mars
but
is the big player in this field.
yeah, well, they own Royal Canine as well, right?
Yeah,
And
but
so,
they're good. I have sworn by Royal Canin for 20 years, but I was disappointed last year in the product I got, and I had to switch from there to Raw. And ever since then, my dog's doing well. But and I'm not now. Now I'm nervous about it going back to Royal Canin. I'm yeah, I don't have the time to go and do. My life is busy enough, so if raw works, then I'll stick with raw.
well, there's a degree of trust that we do because we love our animals here.
Trust is something. Oh, I'm so glad you brought that up. See, for me, trust is more important than money in the bank.
Love it.
Um, when I have patient, I have active power customers who will um, who will say that they got a packet and it got lost, didn't get it. I said no problem, I'll ship you a new one. No problem. There's one customer who got uh, uh, the package reached but it was damaged, and says, use it, I'll send it. There was one person who got a bottle of Zeus, and in the packaging, each bottle we put a piece of cotton and we put a um,
Little
uh,
thing,
yeah
a
we
safety
put a
tab.
little silica gel that absorbs moisture. So in this bottle, somehow that cotton plug had it got missed.
It
I don't know.
smells so good, man.
That's the cinnamon that you smell.
It smells so. You guys, when you get this, smell it because I was expecting. Sorry, Doc, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So the cotton was gone, and
So she's complained. She said, "Is this real? There's no carbon there. It's not tampered." I said, "No, it's not tampered. It's probably got missed in the packaging thing." So I said, "Don't worry. You keep it. You can use it. I'll ship you a replacement right there." So I got my attitude to customer service from a guy by the name of Jim Hill. Jim
okay,
Hill is Hallmark Canine's proprietor, and he the way he does business is something to be emulated. He's really knows how to take care of people, and he's not about making the immediate sale or the profit. He's all about, okay, are you happy? You work? Is it working for you? If it's working for you, then I'm happy. Yeah, hallmark trainer. So I when I started Active Power, I looked around and I said, you know what, I want to run my company like the way this guy runs his business. This philosophy is really important. Take care
Love
of the
it.
people. The people will eventually take it. See, and that basically translates into how it is. The people have spoken so nicely about the value they get. So I don't need to worry much about how the health of what I'm doing. I just need to focus on making a great product and a great experience. Let the people speak.
Yeah. Let your product speak for itself. If it's good quality, then people will naturally speak. And it's same thing here too with these live streams, Doc. Like people that tell me, you know, I do a Patreon page, and if you guys like what I do, consider support me on the Patreon channel. Here's the link, and I'll put it in. But you know what? This is all for. I love learning. I love meeting people, and I truly love people themselves. And so this is something that I do just kind of. I have a selfish, selfish
No,
motivation here. You know.
and yes, a cynical person listening to our talk right now can very easily say, well, yeah, but you're just blowing your own horn, you're telling it. The There is a fine line between blowing a horn and actually saying, listen, this thing works. I believe in it. I've I busted my ass to, I put my life's work in it and use it and get value. And because it works, I didn't see, the company has been on for since 2017, and I am talking about it like this only 7 years from now. And the reason is, I want 7 years of people to say that.
I love it.
I just don't, I didn't brag about the product before proving it. That's the whole thing. So
You know the number seven. I don't know about
it's a
in
good one.
Vedic but I know the Bible. You know, I'm Catholic. The Bible, the seven is the number of completion, right? The God created the universe in 7 days, wheels of seven, and
From
um,
your
and, and
from
so
your lips to God's ears.
that's right. I guess so. But seven's a very important number, right? And not only that, but it shows this determination to get it right and to work on it until it is right. And that's why, like, you're still working on the horse product. Um, but it's also, I hope people can see that we're authentic and that I know you, I love you. You're somebody that I'm so happy that I've met. We've done a live stream before where we did talk about dogs, and now you have taken and pivoted out of the dog world and 100% focus on this stuff too, and that's pretty cool to see as well.
Yeah.
Well, anything else you want to mention, Docker? If you guys are interested in
No.
getting any of these products, the Atlas, and this is just a powder, and the powder goes on the food. Whoops, here, there it goes.
Yeah. You just put some water on it.
How often for your dog?
I use it every day. So people also ask me how much is there and how
There,
long does it last. The Atlas supplement is dosed by weight of the dog. So uh, each jar contains about uh, um, a half a pound of product.
I don't know if you can see it or
So
not.
that's about between 255 to 260 grams.
Okay,
A pound is 454 grams. So half a pound is 225 or 227 grams, half a pound. So there's a little bit more than half a pound. It contains about 255 to 260 grams of product in it. And if you take 85-pound German Shepherd, you will use it comes there's a small scoop in it, and if you see that there'll be a small scoop somewhere in it, and that scoop, three scoops for an 85-pound shepherd. Yep, yep, little tea. and that's half a teaspoon of material in that. So three
Smells
scoops.
so good. This one does too.
Yeah.
So
So
this is a
three,
half a teaspoon here.
yeah, a half a teaspoon. So I think it's half, maybe a quarter, maybe a quarter teaspoon. So, uh, but it's three scoops per day for the dog. So at that rate, this jar will last you about 35 days.
Okay.
So there are about uh, roughly I think about 100 scoops in each jar. So
Yes.
obviously, if you have a small dog like the dog you showed earlier, that dog is not going to get more than one scoop or a day, and that's going to last 3 months now. For
Okay.
this jar will last 3 months for that dog. So so people sometimes ask me, how long does this last? I want to buy one, but I don't know how much to buy, and because we have a subscription plan also. We You can buy on auto ship every 4 weeks, every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks, every 12 weeks. So if it's possible that you may end up ordering too little or too much of product if you are on a subscription plan. And if that happens, what we do is they just email us, and I just go in and I adjust the subscription to the level that they are comfortable with, and that's it.
Yeah, fantastic. And this is the stuff that Larry uses. That he has some videos. I was looking for the videos that he has, but he uses. And if you do use it, again, let us know in a testimonial. Either send doctor or myself a message. I'll make sure it gets to him. And you know what? I might make one of these available for one of my Patreon subscribers too. If you guys, I might send out. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a giveaway, Doc, on my Patreon for somebody.
Oh, let me know, then I can let you have that, and we can work out
Okay.
a favorable rate for you if you want to do a giveaway of something. Your Patreon
Well,
subscribers
how
can get
about
it.
this too? Like, let's do a
Like we
discount
did
code.
that. We did that for there's a company that teamed up with us, and we did that for them. They get their subscribers. It is doggy grass, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Well,
what the company does is they sell uh, small mats of genuine grass for people who live in apartments to use as a little potty mat
oh yeah,
for their
I've
dog.
tr- I've trained many dogs on those in Seattle here.
Yeah. So doggy grass, people who buy the subscription model of doggy grass can get by virtue of becoming a doggy grass customer, you can purchase Atlas at 20% off.
Oh wow.
So we can extend the same program for your Patreon very easily. That's I can I think I do have your email. I can have there's a wonderful gentleman by the name of Jeremy Tolamash who
Okay.
works with. I'll have Jeremy contact you to work out a similar uh, subscription for your Patreon clients. They
Okay.
get they get the favorable discount.
Beautiful. I'll make that announcement when it happens on Patreon, and I'll text you about that, and then I'll get a hold of Jeremy. And thank you, doctor, for doing that for me.
No, I'm not doing anything special. It's standard marketing, and it's nothing. The product is good. Product works, and there is a vested interest in getting it out to as many people. So that's the way it is.
Beautiful. Well, I appreciate you anyway.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you, doctor, for your time. You guys check out activepower.com. There's a link in the comments down below. And I also have a link to the Zeus product right here, which is the human grade. And then we also have the IU rub. And this is the same thing essentially as the Acto rub, except for
And
this
they're
is
priced identical. So it's like they are priced the same on the website. And so is Zeus and Atlas. They're priced the same.
Well, and this is for the people, and this one has the ball applicator, so you can put it on sore joints, put it up on the shoulder there, and then you have the massager too, that you can
Yeah.
massage people and dogs. All right, doctor. Well, thank you very much. We'll say goodbye to everybody here that's watching, and
Thank you. It was such a, I love talking to you. It's been the last time we talked about survival and predictive behavior. That was,
well, we
yeah.
could go into so many different conversations. I look forward to hanging out and just having dinner with you and just seeing where our conversation goes, man, because you're a brilliant guy. And I love that you're a humanitarian. I love that you love your life because you're helping dogs and helping people around the world.
Bill, I'm actually in the process of writing my TED talk. Sometime later this year, I'll be speaking on TED. And the area I'm talking about is predictive behavior, which we talked about a couple of years ago.
Yep.
It's about experience and narrative and how we how can somebody be grounded in experience and manage to lead through chaos. So it's an interesting talk, and when it comes out, I'll message you so
Yeah.
you can.
Let me know where it is too, because if I'm anywhere
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
area,
I'll
I
send
might.
you the link. You can take a look at it.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it. You'll
Awesome.
enjoy it.
And we got two great men. I think the same about you, Kim. You're awesome. Thank you everybody for being here. And then we have our buddy Teresa, who's been listening as well. So
Thank you,
awesome.
Teresa.
You stay right there, Doc. I'm going to say goodbye to you in the studio, but we'll say goodbye to everybody now. Have a good night, everybody. Have a good weekend.